Oh, good morning, everyone. I'm so glad to have everybody join us. And I just kind of thought, wow, it's really fun to be looking around. We've got these really cool products, and they say Avini, and it's just a thrill because a year ago there wasn't anything. There wasn't an Avini, and here we go, and we get on our website. It looks like an established business. We got things happening, and Neil was just sharing over $1 million in commissions paid, and we're just months old. It's just a really going concern, and it just feels so good. And I think this is just a really unique position that we are. We have an amazing experience. A lot of people that are involved with Avini. This is not their first rodeo, and I thought I'd maybe talk about my many experiences being out there, and but just lots of experience. All of these products that we have, they've been really proven themselves over many years in the marketplace, and so it's brand new and yet very, very experienced. So stability, safety, performance of an established company with the opportunity of something that is brand new, and a chance for all of us to be brand new all over again and be fresh. And it's something I'm just really grateful for. It's put the wind beneath my wings and just been really good. In fact, thinking about that, going back, it was April of 1976. I was in the Navy, feeling kind of frustrated because when I was a kid, I was pretty quiet, shy, in fact, and my bedroom was actually kind of a mixture of an electrical and chemical lab. I really loved chemistry, and especially anything that had nitrogen in it. Kind of a little confession there. But yeah, I liked things that would explode and things like that. But had lots of stuff just playing around, and I thought, well, I think I'll be an electrical engineer, and so I went into the Navy, and I was 24 years old when I went into boot camp. Valerie and I were already married. We had started our family, and here I am, kind of a late bloomer. And I joined because the Navy had the best electronics programs. And so a short while later, I'm sitting at this bench with all this electronic stuff. And it was really fun for a while, but also in the Navy, it was, security. And so there's no windows in the building, fluorescent lights, and it was on Whidbey Island, which is beautiful, but it's up fairly north. And so a lot of times of the year, just that latitude, I go to work in the dark and come home in the dark, and just in there and doing it all day long. All of a sudden, I realized that the Navy had completely cured me of any love I had for electronics. Just, I can remember this one moment. My friend on the same bench, he was doing some studying and stuff, and said something to the effect that, "Oh, look at this new metal oxide field effect transistor. Look at the high impedance. Look at these other parameters." And he was all excited. And I remember just thinking, he's going to be really good because he's excited about it. But I remember thinking, "Oh, that's nice." And I just started thinking, what can I do with my life? Now, early on, I was starting to also think about careers. Right before I joined the Navy, I remember that year before, the 1099s or W-2s, excuse me, came in, and I had 5 W-2s in 1 year. So kind of to show you my extreme mental focus. Wow, five different jobs in 1 year. And the Navy kind of got me to hold still on that because they've got something about no, you can't leave yet. You've got to stay. You signed up for so many years. But I'm just thinking, what do I want to do? But more and more, I realize that not all jobs are created equal. Some are definitely more fun. But when it really comes down to it, some of the things that you start thinking about, especially if you're building a family, is money. And that's just kind of how the world is set up. But also, I just kind of felt like purpose. I think I was adding some value, fixing things for the Navy, and And yet, on the other hand, it was really frustrating because I remember figuring out a couple of things and went to the work center supervisor, and he didn't get excited about it. In fact, it was just like slow down a little bit, or else we'll lose a couple of people in our work center. Or it just, accomplishment or doing things. Sometimes there wasn't correlation between reward or activity or income or anything, and just got really frustrating. And about that time, Valerie and I were kind of thinking, what do we want to do with our lives? I remember being almost 26 years old, meeting other people that were pretty squared away at that point in their lives. And I'm thinking, I still don't know what I want to do. I couldn't find something that could get me excited. And we got invited to a meeting with one of my friends in the Navy. And we went there. I just thinking just to get along and get together and become friends. And when we went, the house was filled up with a whole lot of people, a lot of the folding chairs set up in the living room, and everybody had suits and ties on and dresses. And I noticed they all had their scriptures. I'm trying to remember. No, that I don't remember hearing anything about that. And then everybody started to sit down and get ready, and then they're wondering, okay, are we waiting for something? And then the doorbell came, and then another couple came in, and they were very smartly dressed, and they had an easel and one of those tripods, and they set that up on there and started talking about business, and they started drawing circles. And as it went along, I could see people feeling more and more. I could just feel this tension in the room. And probably 40 minutes into it, they told us it was an Amway opportunity, and everybody got mad and left. And I realized that was supposed to be their weekly Bible study, but I had never seen anything like that. And essentially, it was, you find 6 people, and what if they just find 4, and what if each of them just find 2? Later it became, me, you, 6, 4, 2, and if you do this, you'll make so much income. And I just really got excited about it. And it was just a whole nother idea. I'd never had any interest in business. The idea, of course, we've all heard we become what we think about, but giving me the book, The Magic of Thinking Big, listening to a couple of cassette tapes that they gave me, it just rewired my brain. And I just started thinking different, started listening to those people. Not that I really moved quick. I again, kind of a slow mover on stuff up to that point in my life. And but I read the book. I got pretty excited about it. Not enough to really change that much. I dabbled for about a year, and getting calls from different people. And then finally, one of my upline says, you got to come to this meeting. There's going to be a really good speaker. It's down in Seattle. It's a bit of a drive, but you will be glad you did. And so I went. And yeah, I got fired up. I just got pretty excited. I says, I need to do something. And then my upline said, I'll come and do a meeting at your home if you gather some people. And so I invited a few people. One of them was in that same work center with me, Doug Robinson, and he brought his wife, and they went through that plan. He got all excited, and he got so excited that he joined, and we sold a little bit of product, and I got my first check. It took a whole year before I got my first check, and I remember it was something like $8 or $9. That was my first check. So wow, I'm killing it. Not anything happened really quick in that business. Well, over the course of the 4 years that I was in that business, I just got more and more excited. But I had a lot to overcome. I eventually started doing my own meetings, so shy that I had this nervous stomach. And so before every meeting, I'd get the trots, and just I remember also, getting my own easel and marker board. And I remember going like this with a marker, and I'd feel sweat drip all the way down to my belt. That's just, sweat getting in my eyes. It was a lot to overcome, but I did it. Kind of this idea of just building up a tolerance to doing scary things. But I realized you can do scary things. It might be scary, but you can do it anyway. And the other thing that I really took from that business was fundamentally that where you will be in the future is determined by association with people. At that time, everything was cassette tapes, and they told us to listen to tapes every day. Every day read something out of a positive book, and they had a list of books that they would recommend. Some of those in the background go back to that time, and think about this. If you're thinking, wow, here I am, Avini's 8 or 9 months, and I haven't really done a lot yet. Is this it? Well, think about me. Let's just kind of look at that. I think, okay, we're going to go into, let's see, April of 2023. Subtract that from, or subtract 1976. I think that is that 47 years. You know, this February will be a 50th anniversary, and so I'm thinking, boy, I've dragged Valerie around all kinds of companies. Most of our married life has been in this wonderful world of network marketing. But so what I learned from Amway, I think, was that idea that you can change by changing what you put in your head. Where you'll be is, you know, listening to tapes at that time. So listen and watch positive things, read positive things, hang around positive people, and you will change. I think it's best expressed by Jim Rohn. He says, when you change, everything will change for you. The other idea was personal development is the most important thing that you can do. If you think of any area of your work, or any area of your life, because we all want success. We're all searching for happiness. So much of that is involved in other people. And if you could become a better person, you'll attract better people, because you all we all have a group we're working with, and that's some of the greatest satisfaction, and will bring us some of the most happiness, is just our friends and relationships. And so that business gave me so much. Another thing is one of the books written by the founder of Amway, Rich DeVos. It was a book called Believe, and had a lot of his life stories in that. And one of the things that I remember was him. He was a very good speaker, very inspiring, and he's at a group where thousands of people are there. And afterwards, a man in tears comes up to him, and he says, "Mr. DeVos, the people, they will be better because they came here today and heard you." And I thought, oh my goodness, I would like to be like that. You know, can you think of a higher, more wonderful compliment as somebody saying, you know, because of you, I'm better. Other people are better because of you. And I just kind of thought that should be everyone's life mission, is to make a difference, to actually do things that make a difference out there. And I think as all of us get older, we have careers and we do different things, but what do we want to be remembered for? And I think hopefully we all just want to feel like that the world is better because we were here. And then I just got thinking, this is the best kind of business that we could be in to make the biggest difference. Because when it comes down to it, if you want to make a difference, well, what could be better than that? Well, make a bigger difference to more people. And the idea of teaching people how to teach people. So we've all heard, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, you can feed him for a lifetime. But if you have something really awesome that's life-changing, and you teach people that, and then teach people how to teach that, you can affect a lot of wonderful things being involved in that. So I just love this idea of network marketing. It's just the highest form of work. If you have a good company, if you have good products, and all of those kind of things. And so I just got hooked. So after a while, my direct distributor, he worked for a lighting company. And Doug Robinson, my friend, got out ahead of me, and he decided to work for that same lighting company. I was still kind of shy. Well, actually, I still am, for that matter. But I remember talking to Dean and later to Doug. 6 months after he got out of the Navy, I was still in the Navy. 6 months, he moved into a brand new house. he was making more than an electrical engineer. He was just doing really well. And I remember just thinking and talking to Dean. He says, well, if you really want to build your business, if you're out there in the public, you're meeting and talking to business owners and good people, those are the very people that you want to have as your prospects. And so he says, I never ran out of prospects, and I'm my own boss as far as timing and everything like that. And so I went ahead and interviewed, thinking, I think I'll do that for my job too. And I'd love to move into a new house in 6 months. And so I called up the manager of that company and scheduled an interview, and told him I knew Dean Annabo and Doug Robinson. Oh, if you know them, yeah, come down. We could find a place. And in fact, we've got an opening in Twin Falls, Idaho. And I remember looking that up and being pretty excited about moving to Twin Falls. I had it all figured out. But after the interview, he looked at me and he says, I just don't think you've got what it takes. I'm sorry, but yeah. And I just remember driving home and wow, what am I going to do? And then a little while later, Doug called and says, well, what's happening? And it was just a matter of pride. He was killing it. I just couldn't say, well, I just didn't cut the mustard. And so I says, well, I guess I have to go back and talk to him. Well, what about? And so I'm just kind of thinking. And so I called him up and I says, could we do another interview? Could I come and talk to you? And he says, what for? And I says, well, I just feel like I think I could be good in this. I think you should give me a chance. He goes, well, you can come down. And so I went down there, and the first interview, of course, he was just real pleasant and everything was nice. Now he was kind of frowny and what do you want? And, let's get rid of this guy. And it kind of came to this point. He says, what makes you think you can sell? And I'd been around enough to realize that this was the moment. And I thought, okay, really important. I got to meet eyes. The first person that takes their eyes away, kind of the psychology thing. But what could I say that's real profound? And so I just put a big smile on and I looked him in the eye and says, well, what makes you think I can't? And I just kept smiling and looking at him. And that went on for, it seemed like a long, long time. But finally, he kind of looked away and just says, okay, you can have the Tri-Cities. And I just thought, wow. And so I was all excited. Well, I found out later on that's looking it up in the map there. It wasn't that, but I discovered that was in Eastern Washington, the Tri-Cities, and it's Kennewick, Pasco, and Richland. And so when I got out of the Navy, we moved there, not knowing a soul, and a U-Haul, and straight commission. And this is a really turning point in my life, was working with that company. I went down to Salem, Oregon, the headquarters of the company, and met Jerry Anderson, who had founded that company. Still pretty young, just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and part of that was him telling his story, that he was a straight commission outside sales guy, and did really, really well with it. So much so that he started his own company. And then as we left, there was 5 people with me that was also going through that, just starting out. And he said, okay, this is the assignment. This is part of the job, is you need to call me every day. Every day, I want to hear from you. And then also this sheet right here, you want to duplicate it. And this is a worksheet, and I want you to make a carbon of it and track everybody that you've talked to during the week, and I want to look at it. And so I did, and I called him, and I kept track of it. And the first week I saw a whole lot of people and failed miserably. It was really scary. And then a trainer came, and we went out together. And at that point, I'm just really nervous. And also, I wanted to do it really bad, but also it's kind of that pride. I didn't want to fail. Doug was killing it. Why wasn't it working for me? And so I remember just knowing that my trainer, he was going to come Monday, and I decided to fast and pray. And so Saturday and Sunday, and I went into Monday morning still doing that. and we went out, and all that morning we didn't sell a thing. And so on one side, I'm thinking, see, it isn't so easy here. And in fact, I actually found out that Steve Tomoncelli, that sales manager, didn't think I was going to make it. And he didn't want to waste a good territory on somebody that wasn't going to make it anyway. So he put me in that area, and I found out nobody had ever made it before. So I think, oh, goodness. And so I'm thinking, see, it isn't so easy here, because we hadn't sold anything. And then coming into early in the afternoon, we went into a big, well, Twin City Foods, pretty big business, and made about almost a $2,000 order. And and then all of a sudden it just broke free, and I made 4 or 5 sales. We made several $100s that day, and I went out to eat at the Red Lion that night. And going forward at that point, we just started going really well. They had a contest, and I won it for Rookie of the Year. I wound up being one of the top salespeople, which was wonderful, because that helped me with my hobby, network marketing, because I'd never really made anything in that one business. Over the 4 years, I eventually, looking back, I sponsored over 50 people personally in Amway in that period, and but I never had a month where I was making more than I spent. And then this idea kind of hit in, the definition of insanity: keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. But I learned so much, and then I started. I'd been reading Success Magazine along this line, and somebody did something that had never been done before. They took a full-page ad, and they had this Robert J. Wooten and Eugene Schilling, former president of Shackley, and Eugene Schilling, the vice president of research and development. And they said, we've done it once, we're doing it again. I just was captivated with that. And so I joined that company, and all of a sudden we were just moving along really, really well. It felt so good. It was something fresh and new. Nobody had heard of it before. And they had these really neat nutrition products, and then it fell apart. I'm thinking, oh, darn. And so I thought, well, and then we got into a company called Destiny Slender Me. This is about the same time Herbalife was going along, and we did so well that David K. Sheffrin, a doctor that started it, came to our town, and anyway, we just started having these funny feelings about it. Although on the other hand, we were quite excited. Our very first check was, if I remember, 862, and this is in the 1980s, and so that was actually quite a bit of money, and I'm just feeling really good until probably about a year, and then that came apart, and then we joined another company, and that was a really wonderful ride for almost 8 years, and so working with that company, all of a sudden the owners invested in one of the earlier pretty breakthrough electric toothbrush companies. And I happened to have a friend that ran a dental lab, and so he had some really good connections, and we started really killing it. But then a lot of the dentists says, we don't want to be part of this other thing, and these other people have it. And so the company, after we developed it, took it away from us. And then just things started going south and falling apart. And I'm just thinking, oh my goodness. And so this is about 1990. I'd been full-time for a while, not that we were rich or anything, but going full-time with 9 kids at that time is no idle boast either. And I was just, we had products that made a difference. It was fun being my own boss, and it was wonderful. And then it wasn't. I had to go back and get a job. And I had a good friend at church that owned Intermountain West Insulation. So all of a sudden I'm working there, and I'd made a year commitment. And oh my goodness, all of a sudden I'm working for somebody else doing stuff that doesn't matter at all. Working with insulation. It was wonderful in that it gave me some really strong inspirational dissatisfaction. And I just thought, man. And then after a year, I turned 40, And I just thought, I got to do something different. And so and so I got into, really getting into Jim Rohn particularly. And he says, for things to change, you got to change. For things to improve, you got to improve. And I just thought, well, I got to find something new, but I couldn't find anything. And I'm just decided to just really put that into my daily prayers. Please help me. And this was in May. And so I'm just really, really, I guess one of my favorite parables is the unrighteous judge, and the widow comes and keeps saying, please, please, and the judge finally says, wow, I don't care about her, but her petitions weary me, so go ahead and do that. And then the idea is how much more our Father in heaven, who loves us, if we kind of bug him. And so that's what I was doing. And so in July, just a couple of months later, I fall into this company, and I just knew I knew this was going to be big. I just knew it was a $1 billion company in another country. I knew what was going to happen here too. And when I joined, it was just in a rented office, small room, a desk and a desktop computer, and that was the company. And everything was imported from Japan. It just I was so excited, and the things I learned from all these other businesses, and I learned back from Amway, and one of the fundamental ideas was they used cassette tapes to get people to join, and then they had this standing order of a thing where you would subscribe and you would get cassette tapes, and I believe that got people in, and it kept people in. Well, those other companies, I used that same model, and so being at the beginning of several of those companies, I made tapes. And so this new company that I just knew was going to be really big, a lot of people joined when I did. But one of the big things is I got in, I worked hard, learning with lighting, going out just every day after day after day, just not thinking about it, just calling on people. That was wonderful. And then calling Jerry Anderson every day. That was just amazing. Talking to somebody that had actually done it before, so much that he actually built his own company. He knew what he was saying. And so I just learned what to say, what to do, and do it with accountability of calling him every day. That's why I became successful, just doing the right things consistently over time. That was an amazing thing. And so talking about lights, I wasn't excited about lighting. Just imagine this: if I called on you and says, "Hey, I've got this new technology. It's going to revolutionize your business." Have you ever heard of electric lighting? Most people had already heard about that, and so it's a lot more fun to have something that nobody's ever heard about that actually is transformative. And so with that company, what I did is I just used the tool. I would make a cassette tape, and I had people that were able to use that as a leverage. They could call some of the sharpest people, although they didn't have any track record themselves, but they used the tape, and over and over and over again, I would have wonderful experiences. Just to give you kind of an illustration, I remember talking to someone, and they sensed it because they'd been in several companies, and so they just kind of stopped me, and they said, "Hey, I know what you're saying, but you know what? If I get into another company, my wife will divorce me. I'm on network marketing probation or whatever." And I said, "Yeah, I totally get it. I understand. But hey, this is a really fun tape. I think you'll enjoy it. Here, just take it." And well, he called me. He says, "I listened to that tape. I got to do this." So it's fun to have something that will change somebody's thoughts, and it was so easy. I got a high-speed duplicator, and I taught other people to do the same thing, and we just passed out lots of tapes. And I think that was the big difference. Why eventually I became the top distributor of that company. It was amazing. It was a wonderful life, experiencing something grow. I would say one of the most wonderful things there is that you can do is just find good people, and we're all growing together, and everybody's winning, and miracles are happening, and seeing people that had maybe never heard about personal development, connect and have them learn about Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy and Zig Ziglar and all of those wonderful people that I actually, when I was in Amway, got to meet those people and hear them from the stage. And it was just transformational. And being able to meet new people and teach them all of this cool stuff and see them win. It was just, it was so wonderful. And we hit a point where we would have meetings of, some of them were over 10,000 people. The company itself, we'd have conventions and it was so big. You'd be in this whole room and you'd look at one end, there'd be a band playing in the middle, another one playing a different form of music in the other end, and several food courts, all of it in under one roof. And it was just so big. The conventions, we had the Beach Boys, the Bee Gees. I remember being on the front, and here's Kenny Rogers. We got to have her picture taken with him, and just I don't know, just some amazing good people that were there. Paul Anka, Ray Charles. Oh my goodness, he got your feet tapping, and this was our company, and it was wonderful going around and seeing the world, and I thought, this is going to be my life's culmination. I thought that was it. Well, for some reason, it just kind of lost its soul or something, and for years and years, every year was less than the year before, but it had gotten so big that it was taking a long time to go out of business. But I always kind of felt it's going to turn around. And then about 4 years ago, I all of a sudden several things happened at the same time. One of them was, I thought, I need to take a more active part in seeing if I can get this company to change. And so I started even paying people to make PowerPoints and stuff, and I think I started to annoy them because I have kind of an individual Zoom with the CEO and different things, and said, this is what we could do. You do this, and then actually presenting kind of the fundamental scenario that if you're a new person and you sponsor new people who buy stuff, how much do you make? Nothing. And I just thought, this is so obvious. We got to change that. How are you going to get new people in if we don't pay them? And I just kind of felt like they were moving somewhere else. I wrote a letter. I thought, this letter, I'm going to get terminated. And he was kind of polite, but on the other hand, said, thank you for your thoughts on this. However, you assume to understand, you presume to understand how this business works. And I just, oh my goodness. And it was just kind of this idea. In fact, I actually read this in a book, and it says that, the business that you're in, your business plan, your culture is perfectly designed for the results you're getting. And if you think about that, that's true. But then I keep thinking, what kind of idiot would want the results that I'm getting right now? And I'm just kind of, and then I got a phone call from my doctor to come and see her, and I'd just taken some tests, and I'm thinking, well, can you tell me a little bit? And says, well, your appointment is Thursday morning, and that's the doctor's day off. And so I think, well, okay, I guess it's not too good. So Valerie and I go back there, and she says, come on in, sit down. And it's just kind of weird being in a doctor's office and nobody's there. And she opens up this folder and says, I can't believe you're one of our best old patients. And so that's kind of a thing. Yeah, healthiest old patient. And so anyway, long story short, they found 5 lesions on my prostate, and I'm just thinking, oh golly, I don't have time for this. When did I sign up for that class? And also being around quite a while, knowing people that had undergone that, and the famous, all infamous stuff, just the treatments, and kind of the overall thought that I think was best expressed is this analogy: we've discovered cockroaches in your home, and so we've got it. We'll just burn down your house, and that'll get rid of those roaches. And I just remember thinking, the ideal treatment would be where you come out of it better than when you came in, rather than ravaged. And so I'm just thinking, I'm not going to do that. What am I going to do? And I'm just searching, praying. And about that time, our other business is doing this regional meeting. And so I got a printout of all the people that are in the Bay Area, and just started going down, calling them. And I called Robin West, and somehow, okay, I knew the name, but hadn't really had any real relationship with her up until just going down the list. But we got talking, and she's a wonderful lady, and all of a sudden I'm bearing my soul, telling what kind of my experience. And she says, "Oh, you've got to call Chip Littlejohn." And actually, I knew Chip and Marcy from years ago. We actually, that company had this contest, one for old distributors, and it was based on all overall volume of your group, and the person that did the best in overall group improvements, they won the test. And then they had kind of a rookie contest, and the two things was a trip. I think it was 10 days to Tahiti. And well, we won the mature distributor test or contest, and Chip and Marcy won the rookie one. And I called him up. I says, "Hey, why don't we just go at the same time?" And so we did. And so we got to know them quite well. And that was when they had little kids, and they came along with us. But wow. And so I heard the story about Chip and Marcy, and I just feel like, wow. And so we got on the stuff, and it wasn't even 3 months later, I'm in the doctor's office, and the doctor's really confused. He's got this probe in me, getting ready to do the famous 12 needles. How long were they, Valerie? I didn't see them, but scary. But the thing is that he was really confused, and he's talking to the nurse because part of the probe is ultrasound, so you can know where to stick those needles, and all those things had disappeared. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm off the hook. And then he says, "Well, I highly recommend we go ahead and go through with this. And I've got your original image, and I'll just match them up where they used to be, and then we'll know for sure what's going on." And so he talked me into doing that. And then it was a couple of days later, he called and he says, "I've got some great news. It's gone. There's nothing there." And I just, oh my goodness. And at that point, I just thought, I got to let people know there could be a better way, because a lot of people have that same challenge. And all along the same way, Chip and I would talk about wonderful products, and that we were in companies that had these wonderful products, but they were dysfunctional. They didn't pay good. They were broken. And then January came, and Chip said, "Well, I just got the whole stool kicked out from under me. They're not paying us anything. They don't have distributors anymore. They just think they can sell it online directly." And then I found out later on, when my next order came in, some of the bottles weren't even filled all the way, and there was definitely something amiss with these products. You could it just in your mouth, the mouthfeel was way different. And I'm getting nervous. And Chip told me that the biochemist wasn't there any longer either. And I'm thinking, wow, I want to take this stuff forever. Let me stop here just a minute here. And yeah, I love it. So anyway, I'm thinking it got rid of bad stuff. I'm going to keep on it because I don't want bad stuff coming back. And then a few months went by, and Chip called and he said, "Hey, the biochemist is with a new company, and they're going to carry that product. And would you come with me?" And I just felt this stir, this calling. And on the other hand, though, I was still making some really, really good income. It was a fraction of what I made at my high watermark, if you will, 20 years ago. But it was still really good. And but on the other hand, it was feeling very frustrating, because I was kind of the fat cat on the top. and everyone else wasn't, especially new people. We just didn't have new people coming in. And I just remember thinking, I'm this guy that I'm making money, but it's based on, effectively, it was an annuity on work that I'd done 20 years ago. In fact, that was the income I was making 20 years ago. It was just getting more and more frustrating, driving me crazy. And yet it was still a good income, and I might as well write it out. However, I really missed being able to go out and see new people and bring them in and show them how to successfully build a business, not just a product, but actually the business aspect, the team building is some of the most rewarding stuff that I was missing and getting frustrated, especially when people would call and says, I love this business, I love the product, show me how to make income. And I couldn't. Nobody was. There wasn't a way other than to retail, which is it felt like that's what the company wanted, is everybody kind of become an affiliate, so to speak, and go online or do different things like that and just build retail. And so I thought, well, I'll do it vicariously. And so I called up one of my sons who's a chiropractor. He saw what the product did for me. And I says, why don't you sign up and I'll help you build it. And you could use the money. It'll be good for you. And so he got in, and it was so wonderful. It just started exploding a lot to the point that I remember doing a mountain bike ride with our friends Dave and Ann Mahoney, who had hit diamond earlier. In the conversations, they thought, well, part of the thing getting together is to, I would get them all excited so they'd go hit it again. And so right up front, Ann said, we're done. We are so done. We love the product. If the opportunity comes that we'll sell it, but we're done. We're not going to try building it. We're done. And in fact, David had just retired from his psychology career, and they were done. Well, as we're riding, I'm just saying, well, are you done, or would you like to do something if it came along? And Dave's saying, well, yeah, I'd like to do something. Well, anyway, it came to the point where I just says, well, let me tell you my story, and I love our business. I'm kind of staying there, but Isaac is building a business based on this, and it's exploding. But I had this feeling inside, I says, here's diamonds. A lot of people know them. They know a lot of people. I felt like, I've just crossed the Rubicon. I just, and the thing is, I was excited about it. I really didn't care, but I thought, people are going to talk. It's going to start getting out that I'm doing something different. And sure enough, I found myself on a Zoom with the president, and he says, "What are you doing?" And I told my story. And I says, "I've got to do this." And we all kind of agreed that it is kind of incongruent. And then about that time, the president of that new company, he says, we want you to be an active part. And we'd been diamond, my son, anyway, for a couple of months. And then also, I'm just thinking, okay, I don't want to create a trust fund, baby. And so we started kind of cutting it to just $1,000 a month, and the rest was just in an account, because I didn't want to pull any money out of it, but it was kind of, going into a kind of a small fortune. And so he says, we'd like you to be full-time, be a presence, do Zooms, do meetings with us. And I remember when he was saying all of this kind of stuff, he asked me to come back to the home office. And I just remember saying, if I accept this, I'm going to have to quit. I just, we went, and I did. And so I resigned. And so that was in May. I got my last check from that company 4 years, about 3 years ago, I guess. And but what was really weird is the wheels came off of that just a couple of months later, to the point that I actually resigned in July. We went with another company, and that went funny. And then just last, not quite, yeah, just a little bit more than a year ago, we were pretty much kind of done. We were coasting, but realized we didn't have any confidence in that company, and then they kind of went out of business and went absorbed by another company. And I'm just kind of feeling really weird. I left. Anyway, I'd gone through several companies. I've used this product through several different versions, and just kind of feeling really weird. And yet, on the other hand, I felt really good. I felt if I just follow Rick and Neil, everything's going to work out, and that's kind of what happened. As I wasn't joining all of these companies like a network marketing junkie. I stayed the course. I came to the dance with Rick, and just kind of stayed through there, and so that's really how we joined Avini in May and went diamond our first month. How did I do that? Well, actually, I went diamond after 47 years, but also we went diamond in another company that had that same product, and so I just kind of think we had this wonderful about a year of just business Camelot. It was wonderful, new people making income, lives changing, and all of a sudden the wheels kind of came off of it, but. The good ship of Avini came along, and essentially we says, well, let's come aboard. We've keep our same seating assignments and everything, and so it was just the neatest feeling at being able to do that, and essentially that period of time when it was good, it was so good. They had the most wonderful comp plan I'd ever experienced, an amazing culture of just idealistic people wanting to change the world with these wonderful products. Everything was good other than the guy driving the bus. And so the new Avini program, it's got all of that and more, trying to follow all the things that we loved, keeping that, even the comp plan, it just feels the same except with some improvements. And we've got all the good people on the bus in the right seats, and all the other people are off the bus, and we're just coming into acceleration. I'm just thinking, my goodness, this is going to be so big, so wonderful, and it just has that same good feel that we had, and even more so with just the most bright, wonderful future, and we've got something that really everybody needs. This, they really do, and everybody you talk to, they've heard of things like heavy metals and body burden, and everybody's heard of this idea of the brain gut connection and what that means, and people are reading about the importance of gut health, the kind of how that's kind of the headwater of everything in the body. You fix that, everything downstream starts working itself, and we've got all these amazing products that can help with so many problems, blood sugar, just amazing stuff. So I would just say experienced leadership, proven high integrity products that everybody needs and nobody has, that this is, wow, unexcelled opportunity in the ways that make a difference. My short list on opportunity is, well, of course, a business is to make money, but what if you could make money by doing good, and that as you earn more, it's kind of like a report card of the amount of goodness that you're doing. A certificate of service rendered is what your check is every month, and where you have a moral obligation to advance in this because it represents all the wonderful things that are happening, the team that you're building, and successfully helping other people do the same. This is just everything is in its position, and then what we have is this coming March, and excuse me there, but this coming March, we've got the second convention. It's going to be in Las Vegas, and that's just going to be amazing. We went to the Tuscany, which is a resort and hotel. It's just a nice venue, and what I think is just really wonderful is let's see, am I still working here? Oops. Okay. Well, anyway, what's really exciting, if you missed that, I got a thing on there. It says that, but just what's really exciting is we're coming into a momentum. You can just feel it, and just a few months away, March, the Tuscany Resort and Hotel in Las Vegas, something to work toward. I highly recommend you get the book Go Pro with Eric Worre. And he has these 7 steps of the fundamentals of building a successful business. The number 7 is what he calls the highest paid activity involved in this. And that's to build towards a big event and get people to attend that. And what happens when people go there and meet corporate, and we're all together, it's almost like Pentecostal. People just, they get the vision. And big vision builds big business. They come home and their eyes are shining, and they just know that they know that it is very attractive to people. When you talk to them, they'll feel it, and they'll want to come too. And so I want to give you a heads up. Come, I promise you, you'll be glad you did. But while you're there, you're going to be thinking, oh my goodness, why didn't I try harder to invite more people? Boy, if Susie was there, I know she'd be excited. And so just think about this. Look at it. It's not a consumer with this convention that's coming, but be a co-owner in it. That this is your event, and use it by getting your people to be there. Have a big team there, and everybody's going to catch fire. And we're just going to be into the second stage of the Avini rocket, just moving faster and faster. We've been in companies before. I've had the thrill of it. I just feel so honored to have the privilege of doing it one more time. And in fact, that's one of my very favorite comments is people say, well, what's new or something like that. It's so easy to bring that up when you're conversing with people, and I'll tell people, I just say, well, last May was my 72nd birthday, and so I'm having a midlife crisis, and so I decided to start all over. I'm beginning my encore career, and then I talk a little bit about what this company is and what we have, and how a chance to just be really at the beginning of something that is definitely going to be big. Can't you just feel it? Every time we share this and a miracle happens, it just reinforces that, this is going to be big. And so we want you to play a big part in it too. Why not you? Why not you play a big part in it? And we'll help you. Call me. Let's work together. And near the end of the year, I want to wish you a most wonderful Merry Christmas and a whole wonderful and happy, prosperous New Year. But don't be thinking, well, it looks like right now, today it's the 17th. I'm just kind of let up. I'm going to gather my energy and begin January. Well, momentum is everything. If you let go, momentum stops. Work all the way up to the week before Christmas. Just give it your all, and you'll be glad you did. Keep it going, because this is a time where so many people are together, of good cheer, chances to interact. If you're giving gifts, think about the gift of Avini. That way it's tax deductible, and they probably are not going to have another product that someone else is giving them that's the same thing. And so, let's go for it. This could be the best ever. And it's so fun to have such a great thing before you. I believe doing Avini is one of the most powerful anti-aging medicines, not just the product, but the business itself, being actively engaged. People that actually have a massively transformative purpose that they can clearly articulate to other people, they're going to live many years longer than people that don't. And plus, they'll just live better. Isn't it exciting? So let's go for it. Thanks. Love you all. Take care.